Today I'm going to review Hot Wheels' rendition of the 1963 Studebaker Avanti. You've probably never heard of one of those, right? Well, the car isn't that widely recognized even within the gearhead community. And that's one reason I applaud Hot Wheels for bringing out these obscure models like the 1974 Brazilian Charger or the Proton Saga. I'm a car guy and I'd never even heard of those two until they were released by Mattel. However, I am familiar with the Avanti. Growing up in Northern Virginia, there was one local to the area back in the early 1980s. I don't know if it was an original or a post-Studebaker edition, but more on that later. In 1962, Studebaker decided to produce a luxury high-performance sports car. And unlike the Corvette and earlier Thunderbirds, it was not a two-seater. The Avanti was marketed as America's only four-passenger high-performance personal car. And I guess for that era it sort of was. Designed by Raymond Loewy, the Avanti used a fiberglass body atop their Lark chassis. Power came from either a naturally aspirated 289 or a supercharged version of the same. The base 289, which was called the R1, made 240 horsepower, while the supercharged R2 produced 290. Those were stout numbers for their day, and in a car weighing just over 3,000 pounds, they'd move. And before I forget, Avanti means forward in Italian. As you'll see, the Avanti has pretty smooth lines compared to other cars from that era. I'm not a huge fan of the body style, but I will give it to Studebaker for the innovative look. For instance, there is not a pronounced grille. It's a bottom breather with air entering under the front clip. They had front disc brakes, padded interior, and even a built-in roll bar, which is really rare for a car that was not offered as a convertible. I don't know of any other car prior to the Avanti with a hardtop configuration that used a roll bar. Maybe there was, I just don't know of it offhand. Transmission options included either 3 or 4-speed manuals and a three-speed automatic as well. Now, I don't know what the mix was on those transmissions. I've seen quite a few Avantis, original Avantis, sold online, and there seems to be an even mix between manual gearboxes and automatics. In terms of performance, 0 to 60s were in the 7 to 8 second range for the R2 package. R1s were slower. I think they were closer to 10 seconds. Quarter miles were for the R2. Again, that's a supercharged version, average 15 point something, 15.4, 15.5, somewhere in that range. And then there's top speed. Studebaker got a lot of press on that. Studebaker took the Avanti to the salt flats at Bonneville and turned 170 miles an hour, which was flying for a production car in the early 60s. Though there is a footnote to that. The speed was done with an R3 motor, not the base R1 or R2. The R3 was basically a punched-out 289. It rounded out at 304 cubic inches. The Paxton supercharger was run at a higher boost. It had a bigger cam, higher flowing heads, larger valves, double valve springs, and the entire rotating assembly was balanced. Compression was bumped and a hotter ignition was installed. Horsepower for the R3 was claimed to be 400. I don't know if it actually reached that or not, but it seems possible considering all the upgrades they did to the motor. There was an R4 version. This was naturally aspirated at 2.4 barrels in high compression at 12 to 1. But again, that was not supercharged. And I've not seen a horsepower figure on the R4. I'd guess somewhere between 300 and 400. The Avanti did not sell. By late 1963, Studebaker shelved the model. Around 1,200 were produced in 1962, and less than 4,600 were made in 1963. All the existing parts were then sold to brothers Nate and Arnold Altman, and their partner Leo Newman, who was a Studebaker dealer in South Bend, Indiana. They produced the model for a while. They used Chevrolet powertrains instead of Studebaker. They had 327 Chevrolets early, and then later 305s and even a few hundreds. Nate Altman died in 1976. Art sold the company in 82. The Avanti line lived on through numerous ownership changes until about 2006. So as for the Hot Wheels version, I think Mattel did a nice job with this cast, and even though I'm not a huge fan of the Avanti body style, this car from Mattel looks great. They were originally offered as part of the Classics line in 2009. That year they came in a few colors, if I recall. There was orange and red, green, gold. And being a classic model, they were shot with Spectraflame paint, so they look outstanding. The car you see here is not a classic. It's a treasure hunt from 2010. They also did a super treasure hunt Avanti that same year using this gold paint scheme, but this is metal flake. I think on the treasure hunt they shot it with Spectraflame, a little higher end. But after that super treasure hunt in 2010, that was it. Hot Wheels has not produced an Avanti since. And it's a shame because this car is unique, and I think for younger people that don't know what an Avanti is, bringing the casting out shares with them a little bit about a unique car from the 60s. Some basics on this casting. It is metal on metal. So the base is metal. The color is metal flake gold with white accents. The treasure hunt logo is on the rocker panel. I don't know if you can see that there or not. It's right behind the front tire on the rocker panel. I really like the 5-spoke wheels with the white walls. The cream interior, which I hope shows up okay on this video, goes really well with the gold. The color scheme on this car just works for me. I don't know. I like gold, I guess. That's probably why. Hot Wheels gave us headlight and tail light details, which you sort of expect on a treasure hunt. I bought 2 of these and left one on the card. I opened this one because there are some very minor paint imperfections on the roof. I don't know if you can tell that or not from these shots in the video. A couple other things I'll just briefly touch on, and then we'll do a roll test. This car was made in Malaysia. The car weighs 37 ounces, so it's not really heavy, but it's not real light either. The model code is T9725. But it is not on the base. And I need to correct myself from something I said in the previous video. Not all castings, not all of them get the model code on the base. If there's room constraints, sometimes they won't put it there, sometimes they will. I've never been able to figure out exactly why some get them and some don't. There is a date code, which is definitely common or pretty much on all the cars that they've done from, I think 2008 is when they did the date code. This is C42. C is the year 2010, and 42 is the 42nd week of the year. Time for the roll test. I'll send it down the track 3 times and we'll take an average. Roll number 1 did not make it to 3. It also pulled to the left. I think it rubbed on the side of the track. We'll do it again. Better. Made it to 3. There is wheel shake. You can see it on both the fronts and the backs. And the last one. It pulled to the left again, made it just past 3. So this is average. It's not a great roller, but it does okay. That's it for today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.